Jason, I hope you were paying attention while I was coaching TJ through that last repair.
I think I was.
All right, good deal. Don't worry, I'll be here to coach you through it.
Sounds good.
So a question we get all the time is, will glue pull repair work on aluminum? And the answer to that is absolutely 100% yes. It works spectacularly well on aluminum. So you can see we've got a pretty good dent here on the bedside of this F-150.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see how this is going to work, knowing that aluminum pulls so much harder than steel.
Yes, yeah, it's incredibly more difficult to work with. So let's come in close on the dent here and let's sort of talk about what we've got. Obviously a pretty good overall impact through the body line here. Nothing structural, right? If you remember talking about how we choose where to fix, there's nothing, and when I say structure, I don't mean safety structure, I mean the structure of the panel. This upper line is not bent in, and there's nothing coming down into the wheelhouse or anything. So then we're gonna talk about and address coming back to deal with that body line. That's what we're gonna bring up first, and then we've got what could be a secondary impact with some paint damage. Once we get this up and restore our body line, we're gonna come back in and just see how good of a pull we can get over damaged paint, specifically because we're in a body shop and you guys don't always have the luxury of working on intact paint. Right. So we're gonna show you what we can do there. Let's talk through it and walk through it and go through. And again, you're gonna be tired of me talking about the 6 C's before we get done. What are your thoughts on the repair before we jump in? Where are you going to attack? What are you going to do and go from there?
Well, I remember from what you were telling TJ to not go right on the body line.
Correct.
Go right next to the body line.
Yes.
And so my plan of attack would be to go right next to the body line and would be on this top side because that's going to be the stronger part of the panel.
Exactly. Right. You were paying attention. That's good.
I tried.
You did good. You did good. Yes. So all things being relatively equal, yes, this dent crosses both sides. That upper side is the much stronger side, so that's where we want to pull. Now, talking about tabs and materials, one of the changes when we come to aluminum is because it's such a difficult metal to pull and move, when we actually need to over pull it. If you ever get a chance to watch a PDR technician push on an aluminum panel, the whole panel sort of pulls up or pushes up and then the dent moves. The exact same thing happens when we're trying to pull the metal out. So we always default to our flexible material. So it sort of takes the question of which material to use right away. Also, on all of our pulls on aluminum, we go straight to the collision glue. It's a stronger pull across the board. So we just take gray off the table. Even on smaller dents, we go right to the collision glue.
Yeah, makes perfect sense.
That makes sense?
Yeah.
Good deal. So let's come on over to the cart and see about what kind of tab you're thinking. Now we want a tab shaped like our body line. So we don't need a curved one.
No, straight.
We're gonna need something straight and flexible, I think. Yeah, I think that would be a great one. So come on over here and let's maybe show the close-up camera what you're thinking. Yes,
Something
and now
like
that is exactly right. And see how you are right at the body line? That is perfect. When we say right next to the body line, come just like you are there, right up to that edge is where we want to be.
Cool.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
Now, this is a bigger tab. It's a bigger dent. Before we jump into the process, what lifting device are you thinking here, given that we've got a pretty good crown and we're sort of going to want an extra set of hands here?
Yeah, being aluminum and everything with all that being tougher. And I know in the past I've actually had to have an extra technician come over and help hold things.
Okay. Did you build, like, yeah, hey, come on, stop doing what you're doing, come help me.
Come help me for a couple minutes and hold this. I saw a bridge fixture over here. I think that is it.
The bridge, in this case, becomes our second technician. We don't have to say, hey, TJ, get over here, right?
Yeah.
It's the two of us or just you yourself can fix this. It becomes your second set of hands. Yes, you're spot on there.
Cool.
Great. So let's jump into the repair and see what kind of move we can get.
All right.
Now, we've got the 6C card, so the first step is to?
Well, we've got to get it clean.
Exactly. So we'll grab our 99% isopropyl and our towel. Same thing on this car. Go ahead and clean. There's no transfer. It doesn't look like it just came out of the detail shop or anything. There's no reason to go to a rubbing compound. I'm certain that just the isopropyl alcohol will be more than sufficient to get us clean there. So clean, check. We know we're on an aluminum panel, so now we need to check our temperature.
74.
74. Now, where do we want to be?
75 to 85.
Exactly. And on the first heat, we need to?
120.
Correct. He was paying attention. Good deal. So let's take our heat gun and warm the area up to 120 degrees Fahrenheit. So what that's doing, again, just to sort of reiterate, that is getting rid of or evaporating away any moisture that might be stuck in the clear coat. We need to get rid of that so that when we come in with our hot glue, our hot melt adhesive, we don't get a layer of moisture in between the glue and the clear coat.
There we go, 120.
Perfect. And it's okay to go a little bit over, just don't stop short on that temperature. Now, one of the little nuances we found with aluminum is if we can take and get the tab a little bit warmer. Let's go ahead and warm that tab up. We don't need to check the temperature on it, but fairly hot. I would maybe call it 85 or 90 degrees. If we can heat everything up and let it all cool down together, we end up with a slightly better adhesion. And on aluminum, right, we can use all of the help that we can get. So now hold that tab nice and flat. Yep, and one end to the other. You want about a 3/8 inch bead, so come back out to the end. There you go. Just keep squeezing. So a good way to know that your glue is set to the right temperature, and I can't see it from here, you want it literally smoking hot. So we've got this gun set, yeah, there's a little bit of smoke, set to 190 to 200 degrees Celsius, around 350 to 370 degrees Fahrenheit. Essentially smoking hot, but not boiling. So let's come right on top of that body line. Yeah, there you go, and just hold it in place.
Now, how hard do I want to push down here?
So the way you want to set it down is, I liken it to setting a block in mortar or setting a tile down in mortar on a floor. You just want it in a nice bed. So we don't want to squish all of the glue away. We want to just set it in a nice bed of glue. It leaves enough for adhesion and flexibility, so you should be good to go there.
All right.
Now, while that's cooling off, and on this tab with that, we're probably 2 minutes is what it would be. That's going to be your beam, and then you're going to want to go with the largest adapter to get on there. So back here, so we're going to go with a 100 millimeter adapter. While you're setting that up, I'm going to talk a second about production. So today we're here, we're teaching, we're sort of going slow, even working with the Buick and TJ. He said, you know, man, if I was a little bit more familiar with this, it would have gone even faster. In a scenario like this, you can go ahead, yeah, take that off.
Put it back on
put
here
the adapter
first.
on there first. Yep. It is okay on more complex damage to set multiple tabs, so you're not waiting that 2 minutes to dry or anything. On this particular one, this is a single tab pull, but in a production environment, I've got plenty of pulls where I'll put 2 and 3 and 4 tabs, and by the time I'm done setting that third or fourth tab, I'm ready to come back and pull on the first one. So let's take, so we are nice and firm. You can go ahead and start adding a little bit of tension the other way. Now we're in nice and tight. So you guys can see, what I really want you to look at is, you can see we've got the bottom of the crown here and distortion all the way up into here. Well, that was good.
We did.
It's going to move, that's for sure. So go ahead and continue to add a little bit of tension. That was the big move we were looking for.
Yeah.
Okay, now hold up 1 second. So if we can get a tight shot where you can see that distortion at the top here, what I want you guys to see is look at the distortion. So as we begin to add tension, see how it's pulling to the tab, in and out. You can see just how much power we have there. What we need to address or decide on is, are we up here? If we look, and I can't see from your side, if we look here, are we fighting any low at all on this side of the body line or above the tab, or are we pretty...
It's actually pretty close.
Pretty close, pretty
Yeah.
flat? That's
Yep.
great. So how about crowning? How did we had a big tight crown on the bottom. How's that looking?
Yeah, that's much better. In fact, it's almost completely gone. All that's left is this stretched area here.
Stretched, okay. perfect. And then of course we've got some up here. So we had our big move. There is no reason for us to continue to pull more on this, right? If we're pulling more, all we could potentially do is end up creating a high spot here that we're gonna have to address. We've got a great move up, we've got a great release. You've looked down here for your crowns, and we've got this separate low spot up here. Any more pulling here just creates more work for us. So the easiest way to get this off is hold a little bit of tension, grab your alcohol and just soak that tab down. Let a little bit more tension. We'll see if she'll release. It's on there pretty good, and if it won't release, we will come in and grab the edge with the robo. Yeah, she's holding on. There it goes. Perfect. So go ahead and peel your glue off. Residual glue. Go ahead and hose it down and wipe it down. And that's restored the rigidity back to the panel. Like that thing is not going to cave back in simply from you touching it. It's not like it was just an easy out, right? We've restored.
No, it's good and solid.
Right, we've restored the body line. I call this like moving into divide and conquer. We started with this huge dent, this huge damaged area that went from here to here. We've pulled it up. We've restored the strength of the panel by restoring that body line. Now we essentially treat this like two separate areas, and actually this looks like 2 impact points. So we've got 3 impact points that we're going to address. So in the 6 C's, so we moved down and we were into correct. So correcting the lows. And the highs. You've corrected a whole bunch of lows already. We go right back to the top, and then it will be clean again, but we can look at these lows. So let's talk about this here, right? If we can move this and we can move the dent that we fixed with TJ, I'm certain we can get here. A question we get a lot of times is, what happens if there is paint damage? Can you guys make your tab stick? Now I'll tell you, when we lose our shiny clear coat, we do lose a little bit of adhesion, but we can still get great adhesion. And with this tab I'm about to show you that's purpose built for moving aluminum, we're gonna get some extra surface area which would really hold us in the game. I think we're gonna be able to really concentrate a pretty strong pull here on that stretched area and get it up to, what would you be hoping for? Something fillerable, because of we don't wanna over pull and stretch it. We just wanna bring the belly up to where you could get to where you could put some filler in it.
Exactly. Right? Yeah, I look at that and I wouldn't expect to be able to get that, to PDR or metal finish.
No.
I would just be happy to get it enough out that I'd be comfortable putting filler on it.
Okay, perfect. So let's come on over here to the cart, and I want to show you a series of tabs that we call our dead center super tabs. And if you guys remember, I was talking about the dead center tabs with TJ and thinning out the spine. Well, we sort of have got the same thing here. We've thinned out the face of these tabs so it's nice and round. This is actually a 36 millimeter tab, so that 36 millimeters is this. What we're gonna do is use all of this extra surface area to hold us on the panel, and it actually just concentrates our pull right here in the middle of the tab. So let's take a look through here and see what we want. In fact, this may be a decent size, but we'll bring the whole tray over. So come on over and let's just see how this matches up with our big low spot here. So what you need to sort of picture on this is the center of this tab as your effective pull area. So that might be a little big. Let's come down. Let's see what this 28 looks like. That might be a little better play. What do you think?
Yeah, let's try with that one first.
You good with that one?
Yeah.
All right, good deal. So I'll take this one, we'll put these back. And then, Jason, we're right back to the top. So let's get that panel clean. We already heated the area to 120, so we don't need to go to 120 again. But again, we do like to heat everything up a little extra on aluminum. So let's take it to 100 degrees and get the tab nice and warm as well. You sort of really don't even need to move around. You can almost leave it sit in the middle there and it'll heat up really quick.
Yeah, it's already at 100.
All right, perfect. And then a little tip, you can just warm that up. You can even set it on the floor if you want to go a little warmer and not burn your hands at all. That should be good. Let's go ahead.
All right.
So now your glue on this is going
Yeah.
to be right in the middle of the tab. Just keep squeezing, hold it nice and flat so it doesn't run on you. There you go. Keep going. Keep going. A little bit more. Again, remember, if we're going to miss with glue,
Too much.
too much is the way to go. There you go. You're ready. And I'll just pull that away. And you want to get that as centered as you can on that paint damage. And just hold that in place. A little bit of squeeze out. So that's all. So you were nice and heavy on the glue. If we're getting nitpicky, that was a little heavy, but that's good. Again, if we're going to miss with the glue, use too much. It's literally pennies in the cost of your pull here. But it's no wasted time because a tab that doesn't have enough glue will make for a bad pull. All right, good deal. So we're going to let that set up. So now we can talk about lifting device. So given that we've come down so small, really any lifter will likely get you where you need to be. And we don't need to address any crowns. My default would maybe go back to that robo lifter. So it's on the second shelf there. We're going to pop those crease feet off because we're not fixing a crease anymore. So just twist right across, it'll pop right out. And your other feet are right here. So we're going to see if that gets wide enough. If not, we'll go to a junior beam. I think you're going to be okay because really, even if the feet touch the edge of that tab, you're going to be okay. We're going to get rid of a little bit of this extra glue. The feet can actually hold that down because that face is so thin, it doesn't actually pull any metal up. All of the pull is right here.
Okay.
So if you can get those feet around there, even if it holds on, you're going to be okay. So let's see how that looks. Yep, and that's just a thread there. You might need to loosen that up a turn or two.
All right. There we go.
There we go. So now we want to let this cool down because that's so thick in the middle. Let's shoot your temp gun right there. Right, so you want to shoot it right into the corner. Yeah, 94. So we're going to let it cool down just a hair.
Yeah.
While that's cooling down, so we're not just standing around. Any questions on where we've gotten to so far?
No, but I I really like the fact that I can do all this work with the paint still on the car
Yes.
because then I can see exactly what I'm doing.
Right. Well, so body guys always tell me that they don't need to see, they can feel. And I've got to tell you, body techs, I'm going to call you out on that one unless you've never pulled a car out of the booth and men like, oh man, I didn't see that. You didn't see that because you can't see it because it was bare metal. So in teaching technicians all over the country, I've had a few call back and they're like, man, I feel like it might be a little faster, a little bit more efficient the old way. I feel like this is just too rough of a repair. You got to remember that you're not seeing the nuances that you see on clear coat when that metal is bare, right?
Right.
Leaving this on, besides leaving as much factory paint on the car as possible, you can see better. And there will be no surprises. What this looks like when it's flat is what it's going to look like, you know,
Yeah.
much further down the road. There's not going to be that surprise ding that you didn't feel, right? It's going to be gone and get it flat before you get into your glaze.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Makes perfect sense to me, yeah.
Great. So we should be about ready to pull here. Go ahead and check it. And we can actually pull even a little bit warmer on.
And we're at 83.
Perfect. So we're 75 to 85.
Perfect.
We're in the game. Now, this is not a grip it and rip it, right? It's not yank. Like, zoom in here, and you'll really get to see this tab. In fact, let me grab a glue stick so we can put a point for you. Where the magic in this tab happens is you're concentrating your pull in the center. It's really going to flex up. You see how much flex you're getting out of that tab? Look at how much that metal's moving all around there right to that pinch. See that? You're going to take it off. Take your lifter off and take a peek around. So I can see that we've got great adhesion. We're still low there.
Yep.
So that means we can pull more. So go ahead and
I can also tell it moved because I end up having slack in here.
Exactly. Now, how's the power on that?
You can move a lot with this. It doesn't look like much, but it's got some serious power.
Right, the simple lever is a pretty simple, amazing simple tool. So obviously we know we've got a little bit of stretch.
Yep. We got still a little low on top there.
Yep. So I think we can probably pull a little bit more. So you probably have pulled up more slack. There you go. And just keep massaging it out. So what I like to teach is just like you're doing here. It's pull a little bit, check. Pull a little bit, check. Pull a little bit, check. Instead of feeling how much power you have here, do you know what you could do if you just kept cranking and pulling and cranking and pulling until it released? You could
make yourself
destroy
a
the
whole
panel.
lot, make yourself a whole lot more work.
Yes. So what do you think? Do you think we should
That's getting pretty good. Where I almost want to take it off and look at
and
it.
see where you're at? That's exactly what I would do. Now, so we released the tabs earlier. We released all using just tension and the adhesive, or the tension and the release agent. On these tabs, because this outside doesn't really pull up, it's just to hold us there, these tabs can be a little bit trickier to get off. So instead of trying to release with just alcohol, I like to release with heat. And it's also a good teaching point here that sometimes these tabs stick, more power than you need. We don't want to just keep pulling and pulling until it comes off because we can end up over pulling the metal.
Sure.
So let's go ahead and release it with heat. So you're going to use your temp gun and your heat gun around 150 degrees.
Okay.
The glue will get gummy again, and it will just break away right from the car without any additional damage.
Should I measure the temp right in the
Not right
crease
now.
again?
So we're just going to go right to. Let's just warm that. We want to warm that whole tab area up to about 150 degrees.
Yep.
About 150?
175.
Perfect. Well, that's good. So what I'm doing here is we're switching your K-bar adapter to this one that has the pin. So if we come in close there, you can see that this adapter has a pin in it. That is the adapter we use for when we're popping onto one of the round-headed tabs. So go ahead and leverage off of up here. It's nice and strong. You just need a little bit of tension to likely pull that tab loose. They're not going to hurt anything. And then just nice and easy. Let's warm it up even a little bit more for you. I think it cooled down. That aluminum sucks the heat out so fast.
Yeah, it was already down under 140.
Yeah, it doesn't take long for aluminum to get rid of heat. There you go.
Nice.
Now we'll just let that cool down for just a second, and you can come right back in with your isopropyl and peel that glue away. But let's let it cool down before you start picking, or it'll just be
A mess.
stringy again. Yeah, exactly. But that is the best way that we've found to release these bigger tabs. There's just so much surface area that they just hang on and hang on and hang on, and the alcohol just won't wick under, and we don't want to see it damage the panel. So just like so. It should be cooling down now. Yeah, go ahead and hit it with alcohol and start peeling her off. Also, the paintless guy in me just had a little mini, I'm like, oh, there's paint missing. Oh, wait, there was paint missing before we started.
Well, even though the paint was missing, it definitely stuck.
Absolutely. Good deal. I'll grab your towel for you and a little bit more alcohol. So in fact, it sucks so well. It almost looks like it may have divided that big shot into two, huh?
Into two, yeah.
So now we still want to make sure that we don't over pull that and stretch, because we could see just how deep that is. As a body tech, how close are you to where you're saying, hey, we got that to a fillable level. We don't want to turn it into a floppy panel and have a stretch. How close are we?
I would probably go a little more.
A little bit more?
Yeah.
Okay. So if we're going to go a little bit more, am I seeing it right that it's sort of up and down? We've got two
Yeah,
lows?
we've got a bigger low here and then a smaller one here.
Okay, so let's address the bigger low first. We're going to stick with those same tabs, but just like we did with TJ, we're going to move into a smaller tab coming down. It's going to be a pretty concentrated pull, kind of like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's give that a go. So the panel is clean. We just scrubbed it all down with alcohol, but we do want to check our temperature and see where we're at. Where do we want to be?
75 to 85.
And where are we at?
82.
82. So either warm it up a little bit or work really fast. It's your call.
I'll warm it a little since I got to warm the tab
All
anyway.
right, perfect. So go ahead and just a good shot. I'm sure that's plenty. Let's go warm your tab up. Good. And that should be good on the glue. And then get right centered in that lower dent. So what we're looking at here is we're over top of that scratch, right? We've come down to the smaller shaft to get in. What I think is helping us here is because we have these tabs with that face, we're actually able to reach out and still adhere or get adhesion to that shiny clear coat, right? I think that's part of where this magic is happening. So we need to let that cool down. Keep an eye on that with your temp gun. Now again, on these particular tabs, the dead center super tabs, because that center shaft is so thick, that does slow cooling down a little bit. It's just plastic by its nature is an insulator, so it's sort of insulating.
Sure.
But on the flip side, we've got aluminum trying to suck all that heat away from there.
Yep. 92.
92, so we're coming down, so just a few more seconds. Go ahead, and you might need to readjust your lifter because we had pulled so hard. So you can probably get that adjusted. Now we can also cheat this again. So are we in close? Yeah, we're in close. So what we can do with these feet, see how we're just off the tab? When we did the other one, we were sort of like using the feet to hold us in the game.
Sure.
Go ahead and take this off and then flip your feet around. So they will rotate around, and that closes that gap up just a little bit. Well, we're not quite on the tab, but that is going to help us concentrate that pull in there even just a little bit more. How are we looking?
83.
Beautiful. I think 83 was your number last time. Must be lucky
I think it
83.
was. Must be.
So just
Give
ease
this a
into it
shot.
just like you were before. See how that just flexes and holds onto the panel? Probably can take your slack away so you're not burning up your leverage. That's okay. We're pulling hard, and this aluminum is a hard metal to pull, and we've come down significantly in our size of tab there. That's looking pretty good from here, isn't it?
It is.
So you want to do a pull on the top of that as well? So what I'm seeing is you got a ton of the depth out there. I see here a little bit.
A little bit. We could probably get that one a little bit more yet.
And then probably be up all right. It might even just be the exact same tab you just used right back to that. Go ahead and hold it up. And you can always hold it up and check before you glue it on. Yeah, I think we're going to be good. I like that.
Sounds
So
good.
right back to the top. So clean. If you got any residue on that tab, we want to get rid of that residue. And then same thing, your temperature, run that up to 100 degrees or so, warm your tab up. And then warming the tab up will also make sure that there's no residual alcohol sitting on there. Where are we at?
77.
77. So we're coming down to the bottom of our range anyways. We would want to go ahead and heat up. Good. Very good.
104.
Beautiful. Now, we're working. Go ahead and keep working. I'll just talk through it. People sometimes get a little confused and think that they have to wait for everything to cool down to 85 degrees before they place the tab. You can place the tab at any point. In fact, on aluminum, we find that if you place it all together while it's all warm, you get a little bit more adhesion. That 75 to 85 is the temperature range we want to pull in. So we're going to stick with that same lifter.
Yeah, I think so. It worked good on the last one.
Keep an eye on that temperature, let it cool down.
Good and warm yet, 170.
170. Got a little hot, huh?
I guess so.
No, actually, you didn't get it too hot. That's actually the glue is coming out of the gun at, again, 350 degrees or so. We've worked more efficiently now, so we're getting to the panel faster. So we've got to let that heat come out of the glue into the aluminum and work through the tab. Make sense?
Yeah, perfect. Cools pretty quick. That's 120 already.
It really does. So we lost 50 degrees in a matter of 10 seconds.
Yeah.
So I'll talk a little bit more about production while we're here. Again, today we're in a teaching scenario, right? So I'm really trying to slow down and make sure we get all of our steps right. If I were working on this in the shop, right, that first pull was a pull here, and we restored that. But then we decided that, or really talked about, we broke it up into 3. And now at this point, we've broken it up into 6 or 5. We had 3 points here.
Yep.
While this were setting up, if we weren't teaching, if it wasn't slowed down to talk, I would be setting tabs up here at the same time I'm setting this tab, so I don't have any downtime, right? All the time I hear technicians say, I don't want to wait for it to, I don't want to wait for it, I don't want to wait for it. In a production environment, you're actually not waiting for it. You just get to work, 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 and go.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah. But today, nice and slow and talking and walking you through it.
95.
All right.
Almost.
Getting real close. I think you're probably okay to start pulling. And I don't even know that we need or want a maximum pull because we don't want to overstretch it. We're just trying to get some of that depth out to get to a good fillerable, if that's a word, level.
Right. Yep. 83 again.
There we go. Lucky number 83.
Yep.
So we'll start easing into it. Yeah. Now, see, I can see that I'm catching the reflection is starting to pinch up a little bit. I would not pull anymore. Any more pulling, we're just going to create more of a high spot.
Sure.
Does that make sense?
Yep, totally.
So let's go ahead and release the tab. Now, this is small enough that we should be able to release with the alcohol. So go ahead and hit it with your alcohol and bring your lifter back over, and we're going to hold tension on it, and we should get a nice release there. There it went. Perfect. Now, I want to show, if we can get close in here, if we're not already, I want to sort of show you reading the glue. Now, this happened because the tab is just so strong and we sort of stress it out. But this is really a lot of times what you'll see when there's, we call it a cold pull. If you were to let the glue get too cold, you can actually break the glue away. So again, that's not what happened here. We had a super great pull. But just so you guys at home know, if you see your glue breaking and separating like that, hey, we weren't warm enough. And if you called me for tech support, I'm going to point you back and say, well, what was our temperature? Oh, we were 68. Well, you're too cold. So just a good visual of what a cold pull would look like. So how are we looking? I think we might be sitting just a little bit high.
Yeah, I think it might. Right through here got a little high.
Yep. So we need to knock that down a little bit. So we talked earlier, if we can come over here and look at some of our tools on the cart. Much like choosing a lifter that matches, is bigger than your dent, and tabs that are shaped like it, we've got knockdown tools to knock down damage depending on the size of the damage. So just real quick, starting at the top, we've got our slappers, or slappies. These are essentially a dinging spoon, right? So on your, if this had not released, we would have laid this on the bottom and came in with a heavy body hammer and worked that out.
Sure.
Coming on down, we do have a weighted body hammer here. If you just need to feel more like just a regular body hammer, but still respect the paint. You know, we've got protective caps on here. Coming down where I think I'm going to lead you to, we've got more of a touch hammer. So feel how nice and light that is.
Oh, yeah.
It's really got a nice feel to it.
Yep, it's real nice.
So this is a protective cover. This also is a mirror polished, we got a little bit of cosmoline on there from shipping, but it's also a mirror polished face. I'm going to show the camera, if I put it up. If we're dealing with a mirror polish, that actually won't affect the paint. It won't mark the paint at all. And you get a nice metal to metal strike. And then certainly coming down from there into our Black Swan. So this is a tool that was born out of the difficulty of trying to teach somebody to use a knockdown like a PDR tech would.
Okay.
Right? Inevitably, I try to show you how to do it, and you block it with your hand because you're trying to hold it steady and you can't see what you're doing. Then I tell you to move your fingers, and then you can't hold it straight. And it's a simple thing that just is difficult to learn. This takes that whole process and makes it go away. So this, and I think we're going to use that hammer with this face on it and this device to knock down. This has interchangeable tips. So we've got, this is called a pivot tip. So that's for knocking down a broad area. Coming over to the aluminum here, I think we're actually going to spin this off. And we have a polished metal face. You'll really get to see it when we get a close-up here. This metal to metal, we found really drives that aluminum the best. So you do have a thumb screw here, and you can move in and out to get it all squared away.
Sure.
We're going to use your light, and you want to be right on the top of the high and start bringing it down. Now, a warning to the body tech. You guys are a little bit more aggressive than we are. Just ease into this and start with lighter taps and build your way up. Does that make sense?
Yep.
All right, let's come on over and see
here.
what we can do. So you're going to use that. Yep, and you want to put that right in the palm of your hand, or your left hand. Yeah, there you go. And right down on the high spot. Yep. And then just start, it's light taps. You just want to slowly drive the metal in. Moving down for you?
Yeah.
Good. So that's got a nice feel to it. While you're there, let me give you this hammer just to, so you can get a little different feel on striking that with a slightly heavier head. So the difference, like you can actually see the shockwave in the whole panel.
That's nice.
And really, this part of it comes down to technician's choice. What are you most comfortable with? Looking pretty good.
Yeah, it is looking pretty good.
Now, you know, we're on aluminum, you're hitting it hard. If you moved over to TJ's quarter panel, don't strike it that hard, right? It's aluminum, we know is so much more difficult to move. That's the difference between here and there.
Right. Sounds good.
So where are we at? You think we're probably awful close to,
I think that
ready
one,
there?
That one's awful close.
Perfect. So I think we're probably okay on time. Let's go ahead and move up here, and let's just make a couple of moves before we wrap up to show you just how we continue to shrink this damage out. So if you look in your light, right, you should be able to see. I think we've got two pretty distinct impact points at the top. It looks like
we've got one here.
Yep.
And one here.
Exactly. So I think those are the spots that we want to address. So let's, we're coming to the end of the repair. Let's work it a little bit more like a production, and we'll do two tabs at the same time.
Sounds good. Now, what tab would you recommend for that spot?
So
this one's kind of round, kind of like what we were doing down here.
Yep.
But this one's a little bit, got a
bit
little
of a line.
to it.
So round. So let's pick our two tabs first, and you know what I mean? So round, let's go right back to those dead center super tabs we were using and find one that you think fits pretty well in that round dent. That looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Yep, so let's pick that one. And then we've got a little bit of a crease. Let me take a peek in here and see. Oh, I see that running right here. So let's go to a crease shaped tab. And we'll stick, because it is still a little bit deep, we'll stick with our original blue material. Let's see how that matches up there. Go ahead over
All
and
right.
give that a go.
I think that could work.
Think that'll work, or maybe even this one's a little bit shorter. See if that fits. There's a little bit of a curve to that. How's that?
That might be better.
That'd be better?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's go with those 2 tabs.
All right.
So right back to the top.
Let's
Clean
get
the
this
panel.
clean.
Got it.
All right.
All right, so let's go ahead. So we cleaned it. Let's run our temperature up. Now we have not worked up here, so let's go to 120 again. Make sure there's
All right.
no humidity.
Where'd my temp gun
I'll
go?
find your temp gun.
Fall
Start
back
one.
inside there?
Oh, did it fall on the bed?
Might have.
No.
Nope.
I'll find it for you. Go ahead and get it warmed up. Yep.
Thank you.
How are we looking?
115, 120.
Perfect. So go ahead and warm your tabs. Now we'll get these things glued up. So let's set the round tab first. That's the one that takes a little bit longer to set. Nice bead right in the middle, a little bit more. Good. Go. I'll hold that in place for you. And now that's going to pull pretty precisely down the middle. So do your best to line that up centered in that crease as much as you can. So you might even need to stand up so you can see the line. Yep, and then same thing, just hold it in place for 10 or 15 seconds in that nice bed of glue. Good. Now, with our lifting device, we want to make sure we're outside of the dent. So we want to watch that we're not coming and holding this low spot in. So we need to think about a lifting device here to move those out. What are your thoughts?
Let's see. Well, we could try the K-bar.
You absolutely could, yep.
I think I'd probably try that first just because
Okay.
it's easy
Yep.
to grab and try.
That's one of my go-to tools. So the adapter you want on that is that one we showed when we released that tab with heat with the little pin in it. Yep,
That's the guy.
that's the guy. And then while these are setting up, you can go ahead and pick your leverage point, where you want to hold on to.
Let's see here.
Yeah, that's sort of what I was thinking.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty strong part of
Yep.
the panel there.
Agreed.
Other way.
There you go. And then I always use gravity to my favor here. I always just put that pin on top.
Ah,
Yeah. So that crease tab is likely ready to pull. If you want to pull it first, and that'll give that extra insulation on that round tab another second to dry.
okay.
Now you've got a ton of power here. You want to just ease into it. You do not need to, don't yank. It's not full send. It's ease into it. Remember, TJ was compressing the suspension on that Buick earlier. Just nice and easy. See how it's moving?
Yep.
Guys at home should really be able to see how well that's moving the panel out. So we moved that up some. And that's just a little 10 millimeter wide tab. That is not a big, huge tab. Pull that up. Now maybe jump to the other tab. And just try to work that whole area up some. You should be good with your leverage point. Should still be fine. There you go. I think as long as you're up on that edge, you'll be all right. Yeah. So you've already shrunk that overall top to bottom like 50%. I'll switch back to the other tab. Just keep working back and forth. So sort of come off the tabs and let's assess where we're at. So we shrunk it. We were all the way down to here, and we brought it up to here.
Yeah.
This looks pretty good. I don't know that I do anymore. This needs a little bit more, I think. Don't you?
Yep.
So what I might say is, because that is a crease, let's bring the heat gun in and release this pretty quick, and then come over to here with that crease feet to concentrate that pull in. We just need to get this tab out of our way. Up to here. This Okay, while that's cooling back down, let's pop our crease feet back on here. So you'll notice that we used heat to release that instead of the alcohol. The alcohol, especially that 99%, is such a strong release agent that we don't even want to get it close to this tab.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like it's almost like the fumes can get over there. So I'd rather just do this and then come in here.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
So give that a quick temp check. We should be good because I think we were only at like 91 degrees.
Yep. 88.
88, there you go. So you're good, go ahead and set up. And what we're doing here, again, because that aluminum is so difficult to move, is we're just using these feet to our advantage to hold that metal down and concentrate that pull right into the low spot and bring it up.
Oh yeah, that really moves it good.
Right, isn't that crazy how that holds
Yeah.
it down? And I'll go ahead and take your feet away so you can see how you're looking. We don't want to over pull. You can go a little bit more. I still see that we're a little bit low. And take your slack out again so you're not wasting energy. Yep. See how well that holds? Isn't that crazy? Just that little tab. But it's because we're following that. We're using good tools, right? Good
Yep.
glue. The process is really what is driving that home. So I think we can probably release that and see where we're at.
Yeah, we might have to go to just a little bit smaller one.
Yep, exactly. So go ahead and soak that down with glue or with alcohol and put your lifter right back on. Go ahead. And she should release pretty quick. There it went. This off of here, give it a wipe down. Go. Go ahead and clean her off. That looks pretty good. So I think we're probably getting pretty close to a hard stop time. Jason, what do you think? Like, in a matter of, I don't know, a half a dozen, 6, 8 pulls, we got you to here.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on glue pull repair, especially as it relates to aluminum?
I'm impressed. You know, with conventional, you're usually having to heat it anyways. So it's not an extra step there.
Right?
Like I said before, I love that you can see what you're doing because of the reflections and the paint and stuff still.
Right.
You know, and it's strong.
Real
I mean,
strong.
it's
like
strong.
surprisingly strong.
It's really strong, yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, Jason, great job. I'm glad you were paying attention while I was coaching TJ through this morning.